All the guests on Keel heard via the Jack Spring Electric Keel Newsmaker Hotline. State Representative Alan Seabaugh is here. Mr. Allen, welcome back to Keel.
I always appreciate y'all. How y'all this
Our
morning?
pleasure, sir. Let's start here. Let's have a little review to begin. Your legislative proposal. What is it? What would it do? What is your motivation?
Okay, the same provision of law that gives the governor the authority to declare a public health emergency gives the legislature the authority to end it. And it requires a majority of either house, which would be 53 representatives or 20 senators, to sign a petition that would get filed that would actually end the state of emergency. And we started it back in April when the shutdown and everything first started. And actually, the first started in March. We started in April when people were ready to go ahead and reopen. Businesses were suffering. Churches couldn't meet. People were, ready to move on. And the legislature went back in session in early May, and we didn't really push it because we were watching things reopen. We were going through the governor moved us to phase one. I had, 25 or so representatives say, look, if we don't go to phase one on time, we'll sign. And then the same thing with phase two. But the governor, by opening up, he avoided us taking this action. By extending phase two an additional 28 days, and then what really was the kicker was the 28-day extension plus his press conference going in there saying that they were literally going to have squads of brown shirts from the fire marshal storming businesses, spot checking businesses, and shutting people down or revoking their business permits if they were in violation of the restrictions. And that smacks of a lot of things that aren't good and aren't supposed to happen in America. And so business owners, individual people, local government, all started calling the representatives and saying, can we just move on from this? People are ready to move on. Reported cases are up, but hospitalizations are actually, what we're having, especially by percentage, they're way down. And the whole reason we did this was to flatten the curve and to not overwhelm healthcare. Well, we've greatly succeeded in that. And I don't think anybody's complaining about that. But hospitals are not anywhere close to being overwhelmed. They've got the PPEs that they didn't have in March. All those issues have been taken care of. And overwhelming the healthcare facilities and personnel is not a concern anymore. The initial concern originally on the stay-at-home order and all that was never to block everybody from getting it. Every medical professional said that this is a virus, it's going to spread, people are going to get it. The key is to make sure they don't all get it at the same time. Well, that we've succeeded at that. People are getting it. The anecdotally, the stories that we've been getting about people getting it are college-age kids who have absolutely no symptoms whatsoever. They may lose their sense of taste and smell for a couple of weeks, but they're having no symptoms because it doesn't adversely affect young, healthy people that much. So people are ready to move on. Churches are ready to meet. And again, one of the things that I got personally was from pastor of my church in Shreveport. Sent me a text. He said, how can all these people, they're marching in the street, they're protesting, most of them aren't wearing masks, they're all huddled together, but I have to limit my sanctuary to 50% capacity on Sunday morning. It just doesn't make sense.
Excuse me, Alan. You, Alan Seabaugh, are not by nature a man to lead a one-man charge up a hill. And what I mean is that you've done a little homework, you've talked to a lot of people. Do you have the backing? You said you need 50% of either house. Do you have that support?
Originally, early on, I got over 53 commitments from House members. Several of them ultimately didn't sign. The governor's office put on a push. Y'all had Mark Cooper on this morning. They're putting out all their, cockamamie stuff that's just flat not true. Early on, they said, it's going to cost us federal funding. It's going to have all these adverse effects. Our congressional delegation came out. Garrett Graves actually made a video, said that is completely not true. That is fear-mongering. That's typical from this governor. They're putting things out that just aren't true, trying to scare people and trying to prevent us from being able to do this.
Excuse me, Alan, just to clarify, what you're saying is that any rumor, anybody that says that overturning the governor's emergency declaration by either house of the Louisiana legislature would cost us federal dollars is not true.
Completely not true. The congressional delegation confirmed it isn't true. The attorney general confirmed it isn't true. And they can't point to a single sentence in any federal act or anything regarding federal funds that says that it is true, but they put it out there to scare people. And that's what this governor's MO, his administration's MO, has been from the very beginning. We're a representative democracy. We're not a dictatorship. The legislature has a role in this constitutionally and under statute. And we originally had over 53 commitments. Several people backed off when he went to phase one. They said, he might veto my project in the capital outlay bill or whatever. So they didn't necessarily want to push it. But that all changed this week. And several people who had been sitting on the sidelines and signing, they started unilaterally coming up to my desk, because I keep the petitions in my desk, and I started picking up signatures yesterday.
So you have,
and I'm gonna be able to get to 53.
You have 30 now. Is that accurate?
More than 30. We're in the 40s. I can't give you the exact amount because some people signed them and took pictures of them and texted them to me, emailed them to me, and I don't think those count. I think I need originals. But if you count the texted and emailed ones, we're really, really close. And I had 5 or 10 others tell me that they would sign next week.
So if you get the signatures, what happens then?
I think we will get to 53 next week. We've got to consult with public health authority, which we're prepared to do, and then file it. And when we file it, that's really going to be the issue, because when we file it, filing of the petition requires the governor to rescind the order. I don't think he's going to do that. So I think we're going to have a constitutional challenge. He's going to be required by law to rescind the order. He's not going to want to do it. So I think we're probably going to have to file suit against him to force him to do his job.
Mark Cooper, this morning, you heard it. He said that your proposal to end the governor's emergency declaration, I think this is pretty damn close to a quote, is an insult to first responders, to medical professionals across the state. What's your answer to that?
That's just ridiculous. It's not an insult to anybody except maybe the governor, who won't let go. I mean, he's on a power trip, and when he's out there trying to close down businesses and telling churches they can't meet, when you're restricting the capacity of churches but you're leaving the abortion clinics open, I mean, come on. Which one's more of an insult? The people of Louisiana are ready to move on. We have moved on. You go to grocery stores, go to Home Depot, go to facilities that are open. They're full of people who aren't wearing masks, and people shut down in March, as they probably should, because we didn't know what was going on. We know what this virus does. People get it. They're sick for a little bit. They get over it. The percentage, yes, I know some people do pass away. One of the members of the House passed away. I have a family member in the hospital as we speak. When you have one of those at-risk factors, it can be very, very bad. And we're not forcing anybody to go anywhere. What we're saying is, this is America. If you want to open, you can. If you want to go to a movie theater, you can. We're not forcing anybody to open. We're simply saying you ought to be able to exercise your constitutional right in America. And quite frankly, since March, we have not been able to do that. So I'm not sure which one is more of an insult. Is telling the people of Louisiana, you have to stay inside, telling businesses you can't open, telling churches they can't fill the sanctuary. I'm sorry that this has gone on long enough, and the people of Louisiana are frankly getting sick of it.